Magandang hapon, Tess.
Hi, Paolo. Good afternoon. Kumusta?
Mabuti naman. Well, we're back for another episode today,
That's right.
and I think what we can discuss today is we're now in end of February. But I
Time
know last time
flies.
we missed on talking about the January, the latest updates on January, how the numbers are, how sales, how's inventory coming along with real estate.
Mm-hmm.
And then also afterwards, I want to kind of have a quick discussion about how expensive things are getting here in Canada in terms of cost of living, and
Oh,
maybe,
yeah.
maybe a bit of tips in terms of what people can do, because I know a lot of people are kind of, let's say, suffering
Frustrated.
from yeah, high inflation. There's unemployment happening.
High unemployment. Yeah.
So maybe there's things that we can touch on, maybe a bit of tips there. But let's get you to
Mm-hmm.
start off and talk about, some of the January numbers.
Sure. So, January numbers. Here we go. The sales, it was down 8% last January. Okay. New listings were up 49%. That's a lot, right?
Hmm.
49% active listings, it was up 77%. So, there are more listings that's flooding the market.
Hmm.
Well, that's expected. We're in a spring. We're heading towards the spring market, right? The average price in January was 1,040,694.
Sorry. So
Now the
are these new listings that are coming up? Those numbers, those are not the
yes.
existing ones that are getting carried over because some inventory is not selling. So this is on
So
top of
new.
the existing.
So when you say active listings, those are the new listings added
Hmm.
to the active listings. So basically, 70% are active now. 70% increase.
Hmm.
The new listing that were just added in January were like 49%. I'm just rounding it up. That's a
Okay.
lot.
Yeah.
So more properties are flooding the market.
Wow.
And it's probably a lot of them are probably mostly condos, right?
Hmm.
Because condos are not moving at all. Average listing days on market is 37 days. Compared that last year, it's the same, 37 days. Now, the property days on market, that would include everything from suspension, termination, all in the same transaction. It would be 55 days on market. Last year, it was 54, not much difference. So kind of like 1.5 months is staying on the market, right?
Okay.
So that's an increase of 2%, basically. Average listing price slightly up by 1.5%. Now, I want to touch base on more recent numbers. We'll start with the freeholds, okay? And this is for Greater Toronto area only. So for freeholds, last week data shows an increase in listings with price changes, meaning the price, and then for some reason maybe they went for like bidding and stuff like that, and that they have to change it because nothing happened, right? So there's
Hmm.
increase in listings with price changes. Last week there were like 468 price change. Compare that to the week before, 404. So there was some uptick on that one. There's also an extended listings of 30 properties last week. And then the week before, they're like 17. So again, I guess they're extending it. They're extending a contract, right? To see if it's gonna sell.
So I
And
assume
that's
this is across the board, like different types of
yes,
properties, right? So we
that's
don't
correct. It's all.
know. It's yeah, okay.
It's not specific. It's for yeah. Oh, this one is for freeholds. Sorry, this is for freeholds.
Oh, for freeholds, okay.
Yeah, this is for freehold. I'm gonna talk about the condos as well later. So basically, what this means is suggesting that sellers are actively adjusting prices to meet market demands because they know that this is a buyer's market, right?
Hmm.
And you know how sellers are. They wanted, I mean, who doesn't a higher price? And then since there's no movement, they kind of like do price adjustments. So that's
Hmm.
what and they do extended listings on top of that to make sure to see if something happens, right? And then there were fewer deals fell through. So last 2 weeks ago there were 9 that fell through, and last week there were only five properties that went down. And sold freehold numbers slightly increased as well. 2 weeks ago, there were 672 that were sold. in GTA and 682 last week. So it just went up 10 properties that were sold. Terminated listings went up as well. Expired listings declined, and so that means good, because what it means is really indicates a more dynamic market where sellers are responsive and buyers are engaging, reducing the numbers of expired listings. That means they're selling. In contrast, the condo market experienced an increased price changes. Basically, it went up. There's an increase in price change, meaning they're not really selling. There's no traffic. Pretty much, that's really what I'm seeing across the
I
board.
think
I think you noticed that, right?
I think that's going to be the story for at least this year and possibly the next year, until
Yeah,
all this inventory gets eaten up. And also, once the problem too is things with tariffs and everything, where our economy is headed with
that's another
possible
thing. Oh my
recession.
God.
People are
Yes.
worried. There's no stability, right? So nobody knows.
No.
So people are on the sidelines to buy. On top of the inventory of all of the new builds that came up that are
Mm-hmm.
let's say overpriced, right? So
Yeah,
that's the
exactly.
problem with the condo market.
So the price change, okay? I didn't specify if it's going up or down. I'm almost 100% sure that when they said a price change, it actually they lowered the price. That's what they meant by price change, not up. So from 411 2 weeks ago, and last week it went up to 498. And then extended listings, they increased the extended listings from 16 2 weeks ago, 16 properties 2 weeks ago, and last week there were 35 properties. So I guess they're like, okay, we haven't sold it yet. Let me as well just extend it for more. So those sellers were like willing to okay, extend for more months, maybe, or maybe weeks. Sold condo numbers dropped significantly. No brainer. We already know. We've been seeing it all over the news. So 2 weeks ago, the sold numbers for condos were 672. Last week, it's only 426. That's a huge drop. Okay. Additionally, there were terminated and suspended listings. There are increased as well. Now, terminated and suspended really is just to keep it and say, usually what sellers wanted to do is or agents would suggest, okay, let's just suspend it for now, and see, maybe it's going to get better later instead of terminating it, right? So those are what it's for. And sellers sometimes say that too. Okay, let's just. Sometimes they say they want to terminate it, but then agents would say, let's just suspend it for now because we have to put it back in the market later when the market gets, I guess, performs better, right? Expired listings has decreased. So that's a good thing as well. This suggests that condo sellers are having difficulty converting listings into closed sales, likely due to pricing challenges or shifting buyer preference. So basically, overall, while the freehold market appears active and responsive, the condo market seems to be facing more challenges in achieving successful sales. And I think, like I said, we've been seeing this a lot in the news. Like there's no traffic in condos, even for pre-construction, right, Pao? You know that they're losing a lot of money. A lot of buyers are walking away, right?
Yeah, a lot of people are walking away from the ones that are currently built, and then the building of new condos have stopped just because if they can't even sell the inventory right now, why would they build more, right? But that can cause issues later on just because it takes 3 to 5 years to build a condo. So if they're stopping right now, that means in 3 to 5 years time right now, once all this inventory gets bought, there's going to be a time frame there where there's going to be no inventory. So that's kind of the problem that we're going to see in the condo market going in the future.
Exactly.
So,
and that's bad, especially for condos, right? A lot of people are trying to get rid of their condos. There's also, I've noticed, it's kind of affecting my listing actually, because there was one listing that I have right now, well located area, except that the one behind me, which is 2+1, because mine is 2 bedrooms. This one is 2+1. They reduced I think also because they've listed it since last year. And I heard that the investor an investor owns it, right? And he just want to get rid of it just to cut losses. Really lower the price, like way below market value, right?
Yeah.
So what does that do for
Do
me?
for- yeah.
With someone for with 2 bedrooms, that means that will be the new market value, and that's
Yeah.
2 plus 1, and it's much lower than what I'm listing it now for. So it's kind of like, so now we have to readjust. The sellers won't like that for sure.
Yeah. So that is going to become a problem. Just to kind of reiterate what Tess is saying is, for people that don't understand, the value of property is mainly based on what the recent comparable sales are. That's how an appraisal works, right? It's not because if you think the value of my property was 650 because that's the going rate for the new builds. The new builds are no indication of what the actual value of your property. It's what's sold recently. So
Yes.
yeah, like a lot of direct
and what the
comparables
buyers
are willing to
to pay.
Yeah, exactly. Mhm.
Sorry, what were you saying, Pao?
No.
A lot of buyers?
That's a very good point. But yeah, so it's to your point, I remember when we were selling my condo, right? Like within the same building, like if somebody kind of gets desperate and just sells it because
it ruins
they want
it for everybody.
Yeah, they want to cut their losses. Unfortunately, everybody's affected, right? So I think that's the point that you were trying to make. So yeah,
thankfully we sold it at a very good price.
Yeah, for
at the
sure.
market value.
For sure.
Because we
as a seller that understands the market, I know if I wanted to move quick, and especially at that point, I think everything went downhill. I think our timing, that was May 2024. I knew that, the longer that I have it on the market, it stays. It's less marketable. People are going to think that you're desperate, so they're going to negotiate more. So you have to be strategic too when you're a seller, right? You have to understand these things. It's either you price it properly where the current market value is, or you take it out altogether and you wait for a different season, right? Like either 6 months to 1 year, and then wait, but then you're carrying cost, right? For myself, it did not make sense because I was eating up how much, a month.
Carrying cost.
Yeah. The carrying cost of that, I had another property. So it doesn't make sense in the numbers perspective. So you have to understand how the market is and what it dictates at the moment, and also you have to know your numbers,
you have to move
right?
Quick. Yeah, exactly. Well, thankfully you understand the market, and when you explain it, you're like we're on the same page. So, and you know what I mean? Like before I even say it, you already know what I was gonna say. I was like, wow, I wish all sellers are like that. You can only wish. or at least try. I hope the sellers will at least try to listen to their agent and just let them present what's the market value or what the comps are, because honestly, we agents, we don't make it up. It's beyond our control. What we're showing you is the numbers that sold in the area. We don't make it up. Of course, we wanted to sell at a higher price, but if that's what's sold in the area, we have to readjust very quickly.
It doesn't benefit you to sell it as a lower point because your commission is based on the price. So why would you tell somebody to sell lower if it doesn't benefit you or the seller, right? So it doesn't make sense. So, but yeah, you have to understand, you kind of have to trust. But I think that's the first thing you have to do is you have to find somebody you trust when you're dealing with your agent. And then, if you chose them, then rely on their expertise because that's what they do it's like somebody telling you what to do in your job, right? Like if, for your seller, let's say, you're not going into their job, telling them how to do their job. Right. And for yourself, if this is what you do, we are fortunate that in our industries, like you in the real estate and for me in the mortgages, we get training at least every single week. We get a market update, we get training, we get
That's right. We've been following the market update.
Mm-hmm. And we do research on our own on the side as well.
Yes, we do. And that's why I understand where the seller's coming from, because not all mortgage brokers and real estate brokers created equal. Some of them, they don't do their due diligence. So I understand. But you just have to hear out some agents, right? Because they know what they're doing. And some don't, for sure. Of course. Sure. So my take basically is most price changes resulted from initially listing the property at a lower price for offer presentation bidding war, then adjusting it back to meet the seller's larger, target price. Now, in many cases, sellers either didn't receive the price they wanted or had unrealistic expectation. For most part, they do for a higher price, especially in a buyer's market right now. This is not a seller's market, so pricing it right is really crucial. So, I mean, there's different motivation, right, for sellers. Some are desperate to cut their losses. Some are in no rush and are willing to wait for the right price. Like downsizers, those retired people, buyers who have no plans to buy. They just want to sell. Now, remember, if you're buying, you just have to sell. You have to sell now because you are in the same market. And remember, when you buy, it's also going to be at high price. Is this in the same market? You have to understand that part. It's. I know some people they don't get it, but yeah, that's just how
just
it
to
is.
clarify what Tess is saying. So if you're selling right now, if you're selling at a low, you're also buying at a low. If you're selling at a high, if you wait until the market picks up and you're selling at a higher price, you're also buying at a higher price. So at some extent, it all kind of evens out, right?
So if you wanted to wait, then you can wait. If you're selling, I'd say just wait. If you're selling only, you don't want to buy. But if you're buying and selling, there's no other right time to sell. You just have to sell now and then take advantage of the market, of the buyer's market. Because remember, right now, whatever is for sale right now on the market, you can actually negotiate.
Which is not always the case.
No,
we've all lived through 2021, 2022.
2022.
Yeah, so that's not the case.
And that's what I was gonna say.
And right now, you are able to put conditions on your, you have a condition of financing that you can put in, which is crazy to me that at that time that you cannot put a condition of financing because that's kind of your safeguard of your deposit. Yeah,
that's right.
So, which was a dangerous time. So, I'm not just saying this, I would rather deal in this market to buy than that time, because then if you were so rushed to kind of commit to, $800,000, $1 million property without even an out. If let's say your financing falls through, you're not allowed to have inspection. So that wasn't a good time.
You're not doing your due diligence. Yeah, exactly. At that time, they're not even looking at the comps. It's like a trend. Like, okay, oh my God, it's 1.5. And then it goes up to 1.8, but really it's only worth 1.4. Guess what, guys? Those are the ones that are selling right now. Because when the rate went up, they just couldn't afford. You have to make sure you have to crunch the number, speak to your mortgage broker, make sure if you can't afford it, don't buy it. Now, always depends on how much you can afford. Always go with that. Don't be forced by age. I heard also horror stories where I spoke to some homeowners. They said that, oh my God, my agent forced us to buy this at 1.2 million, and then 6 months after, it went down 100,000.
Wow.
I'm like, yeah. So I'm like, yeah. I don't know what to say. I don't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just
the unfortunate thing is at around that time was a very unusual time. The value of property doesn't go up and down on a monthly basis like as much as it did in 2021.
But this one was purchased last year, Pao. So it's not really. It's past COVID. Yeah, you see what I mean? I'm just saying that you have to.
There's pressure.
Really,
there was pressure in that situation.
Because honestly, realtors, they shouldn't be thinking about their commission. The first thing they should think is what's best for the best. They should work for the best interest of their buyers and sellers, not their pockets. That's one.
I agree.
So it's really important to hire the right realtor. Okay, someone you can trust. Interview a couple of realtors. Have your top 3. Anyways, so like I said, the sellers that were influenced by COVID mindset always expect prices will be above local, comparables. They should change that mindset, right? So, like I said, pricing correctly from the start is crucial. The first 2 weeks on the market are vital for maintaining buyer interest and traffic. Proper property presentation is key, including staging if necessary, hiring a professional photographer and videographer. Have you seen some listings, Pao, where they use their phone?
Can tell, I can't even believe. Yeah, I can't believe that even happens.
It's like, wow. Like, how much money are you trying to save here? Like, seriously? Like, for me, even if it's a lease, I pay I pay for
Well,
professional
the
photographer.
idea there that people have to understand is that the whole, I don't want to call it a game, or like, but it kind of is you have
Yeah.
to get people to come in to, to see your property.
Yes.
It's the same thing for everything. Like, if on your YouTube, your
Yeah.
thumbnail is very important. It's like what you click, right? That's,
Yeah.
in Netflix, like that's what happens too, is you look at the thumbnail, do I
Exactly.
want to watch that movie? Same thing with the property. You,
Especially in the generation that we are in right now,
yeah.
what's the first thing that people do? Where do they go? The first thing they would look at is their phone. They go to internet. If they
Mhm.
look at the picture and it looks crappy, very like there's no lighting and it's just ugly pictures and everything. Like for me, if you ask me, I won't even look at it. Like I would skip next. Right there, you already missed one
Yeah,
lead,
about a
right?
possible
So
buyer.
it
Yeah.
is a possible buyer, correct? Yeah.
Mhm.
So hiring the right agent to sell the property quickly for top dollar at the shortest time possible is crucial.
Mhm.
Now, like I said, staging your property is important because it creates an inviting, attractive environment that helps potential buyers visualize themselves living in the space. It highlights your home's best features, minimizes clutter, and can make rooms appear larger and more functional. And so a well-staged home sells faster and can command higher offers. And as buyers are willing to pay a premium for a property that feels move-in ready and appealing from the moment they walk in, and so it's a win-win situation. So that's just my 2 cents on my side. It's like a tip for sellers and finding the right and hiring the right
Mhm.
agent.
So basically, just to sum up what Tess was saying, is overall it's still a seller's market, and then these are just some of the tips
Buyers.
that, or sorry, yeah, it's a buyer's market, and for
Yes.
sellers are, a lot of the listings are still, can stay there for months right now, or
Yeah.
6 months. What's the average now?
1.5, 55 days.
55 days. So 55
Yeah.
days. So these are just some tips for sellers to incorporate or think about when they're looking at selling. Okay.
That's right.
Well, thanks, Tess, for that market update and some tips
My
there.
pleasure.
Yeah, the one thing I did want to touch on my side is, I think a lot of what I'm seeing with a lot of clients right now, and also from doing some research, is a lot of people are getting tight on their budgets, right? I think from the last episode we were talking about, there's higher delinquencies and insolvencies in 2024, and more so like going into 2025 now. So more people are filing
Applying for
bankrupt.
refinances, right? And
Not even
bankruptcies as
that.
well.
Like, yeah, you're looking at bankruptcies, consumer proposals. The late payments are going up. So a
Yeah.
lot of people are. It's the problem with a lot of with how credit works is you feel it, years after, because you can pay minimum payments for a certain time, right? But at the end of it, it catches up to you, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, and on coupled with, I think just some stats here, there's 1.2 mortgages are coming up for renewal in 2025. And when I say 1.2 million, that's 1.2 million households that have mortgages that are coming up for
Ooh.
renewal just this year. I think between 2025 and 2026, I think it was 60% of mortgages are coming up.
Now in
Um,
dollar value, how much is that?
it would be
Billions?
billions, yeah. I don't know the
Yeah.
exact number offhand, but yeah, it would be in billions. Because
Wow.
keep in mind, like, it's not even unheard of to have people. I think the average mortgage size, I think I had it here somewhere. Average mortgage size is, I think I have the payment. I would probably be around 400,000 or 500,000. I would
Yeah.
say, yeah, would be
Yeah.
average mortgage size.
I'd say so. Yeah.
Mhm. So yeah, so those mortgages are coming up, and a lot of them are coming up for from a 2% rate. And now rates are hovering, 4.5, some, you're probably looking at, you might find low threes, or sorry, high threes and low fours, in some situations, but then it's coming from 2%, you're still renewing at 2% above, right? So that can
Mm-hmm.
change a payment, and that's a few $100s of extra payments a month. And, if you have a big mortgage, that can be a change in payment of, 500 or $1,000. So a lot of people are feeling this, budget restrictions that they're experiencing right now, right?
Not to
So
mention the inflation.
Mhm.
Everything went up, the prices and stuff.
Well, household incomes. I did a bit of research. So, average household income is about 106,000. That's combined for most people, and that's gross. So now, if you take
Oh,
after taxes, you're looking at net income. You're looking at around 87,000. So 87,000 divided by 12. Your take home for most households, like I said, this is just average, is about $7,250. So 7,250. And most people are half of that goes to housing, right? The average rent is probably looking at 2,000 to 2,500, and if you're a homeowner, you're paying property taxes, you're probably looking at 3,000. So yeah, so that's about 3,000 in housing expenses. If you're making 7,200, you have 4,000 left if you're lucky from but actually property taxes and utilities, you're probably closer like $800.
that's like a condominium in GTA.
Yeah.
670,000. Yeah.
Yeah, because the average, I didn't even mention that, the average home in Canada is 670, but this is Canada wide. So if
Oh,
this
it's
would be
Canada
higher,
wide.
this Canada wide.
Could be a
So
detached somewhere
yeah,
else. Yeah. Okay. Got
so
it.
in Ontario, yeah, that's a lot higher. The average would be higher
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
670,000, right? So, so where I'm getting at to this is, for a lot of people, there's only two options, right? When you're in a tight budget, you're having a hard time making ends meet. Two options is either you make more money or you save money, right? So a few things. I'm going to breeze through the make money part because I'm probably going to get a lot of hate from people from some of these points. So because my number one plan of make money is look for a promotion in your current job. I know that's easier said than done. I just had to put it there because that is one of the options. Look for a
Somebody has to
promotion.
say it.
Yeah, look, you can look for promotion in your current job or look for a higher paying job. I know that's not a an option for a lot of people. So, but that's one option. Number two would be to find a part-time job for extra income. I know some clients that are doing that. I actually know a lot, not only a few, a lot of clients that are taking on a second job to have supplementary income, right? And the good thing right now is you can learn a lot of new skills, like a lot of social media, like kind of tech type of jobs that you can learn online through YouTube. There's a lot of resources out there. But number three, I was going to mention that rental income in your home, if it's applicable, if you have a detached home and you're able to take advantage right now or recently, you can take advantage of government financing option that you can refinance your property up to 90% to create a second income suite in your property. So
Like
that's
a basement apartment
the
with
basement
separate
apartment.
entrance. Okay.
Mhm. So that's just one option. I know that's not, again, applicable to everybody, but that's what I said. I want to breeze through the make money part because a lot of people are going to be like, well, I can't do that, for some reason. But as mentioned, there's only real two options when you're on a tight budget.
Yeah.
It's either you make money or save money. So now I'm going to focus more on the save money because I think this is something that's more applicable to everybody, right? So number one for anybody, and this is I deal with this on like a daily basis, and for even for people that are actually, it's the best time to do this is when your mortgage is renewing. So for homeowners, consolidate or refinance high interest debts with your mortgage, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
it's the lowest cost of borrowing that you're going to find. So let's say your mortgage is coming up for renewal, you have $30,000, $20,000 in credit card debt. It's the best time to consolidate it. Some people might say, well, then my mortgage is going to get higher. Keep in mind, if you already have the debt, it's best to have it in a lower interest rate than just carrying it there, unless you're waiting for a bonus that's going to pay it down, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if that's not the case, just consolidate it, but just be more structured and don't make a habit that you're refinancing every renewal, right? So that's number one. So your options would be to consolidate it or get a secured line of credit if it doesn't make sense to refinance at the moment. If your mortgage is not maturing, maybe just if you have equity, keep so This is for people that have at least 20% equity, right? Because when you're refinancing, you can go only up to 80% of the value of your home. Okay. For non-homeowners, you can do that consolidation. Go to your bank, or you can get an unsecured line of credit, which I personally have. I'm sorry, I just need to adjust this. I personally have an unsecured line of credit that is prime plus one, so it's at 6.2%. Right, so that's unsecured. That has nothing to do with me having a property. But keep in mind that that's offered when you have good credit, and my credit is pretty good. Like, not to brag about my credit
It's
score.
excellent, over
It's
800.
excellent. Yeah, actually, it is.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, but no,
We know that's how we roll.
Yeah,
Yeah, because we know it should be over that. Yeah.
Yeah, and also I want to point out that a lot of these options, if you're gonna somewhat in a bind, and you know that okay, it's a bit tight on cash, you want to do these things before your credit goes bad, because these options might not be available to you once you've missed payments. You missed your mortgage payment, you missed credit card payments, you missed phone bills. Your credit score goes down, and a lot of these options go away once your credit goes under 600, let's say. Right. So ideally you want to keep your credit above like 700 plus to have a bunch of these options available to you.
Right.
Okay. So that's number one, is consolidate high interest debts. Number two, have a monthly budget. I know it's like
this is tough.
You
would
would
tough.
Yeah, you would think that it's kind of obvious, but like from talking about people, like even knowing how people don't know what money comes in and what money comes out. And that's my experience from dealing with a lot of clients. Like, I know what goes out, it's more unpredictable, but when you ask people, how much money do you make? Like, when I'm running a mortgage application, people don't know. So
also they don't want to talk about it. It's depressing because there's nothing left.
It's true. It's very true.
But where did the money go? Shopping.
No, it's true. But yeah, I strongly I run on, my life is on spreadsheets all the time, right? So if anybody, if any listeners, I can send you a template of a spreadsheet for your monthly budgeting or your cash flow statement, like your personal one, so that it can help you just kind of know what money's coming in, what's coming out, where should you be focusing on saving. So yeah, that's definitely something you can do. Review your bank accounts and your Visa, credit card statements. You fill this up. Just be aware of your spending. Find out where where am I overspending. I know inflation is kind of getting the best of everybody, right? Yeah. So, but be aware of your spending, the fixed versus the discretionary spending. You should know, like, obviously your mortgage you have to pay, your gas, your car you have to pay, right? So, but identify them, right? So this brings me to number 3, cut down on your discretionary spending. So those are the not necessary spending, right?
Yeah.
So what I do, actually, this me personally, I review my phone bills, cable bills, like annually, because sometimes I get, you get better promotions, and I do a lot of this when, let's say Black Friday or Christmas time, where these companies offer better deals, right?
Very good point. Yeah.
So that's one thing. Subscriptions, I actually just did this personally recently. Just tried to realize how much money I'm spending a month on subscriptions between Netflix,
I don't want to think about it.
Spotify, Amazon, my work ones, because you're using a certain app for work. I pay for Adobe. I pay for like our podcast app. It's a lot. It's
our
a lot,
licenses,
right?
Everything.
Licenses. So, but be aware and cut off certain subscriptions that you can live without, right? And I think the last item I had on that is on the cut down on discretionary spending is stop eating out. I think it's the worst thing.
But what if it makes you feel better? What if it makes you feel better?
It's true. I agree. I'm saying that, but I'm guilty of it. Yeah, I say that, but I'm guilty of it. So
I was just waiting for you to say that.
Yeah, I definitely am. We spend a lot of money in eating out, and we've cut down on the drinking portion, which I'm blown away on the amount of, let's say like cocktails now. Like 15,
Yeah.
$20 on a cocktail, it's like the same thing as a meal. So by the time you have two drinks, it's like you're better off having a steak
Plus the tips.
plus the tip. And a
And then
lot
they
of
always say 18, 20, 20. I'm like,
18%,
whoa,
right?
whoa, whoa.
Which is
Yeah. I'm like,
crazy. So
holy crap.
between tax and tip, you're already spending an extra like 30% on your
Right.
original meal, which is insane. So I think that's definitely number one that should be cut out if you're on a tight budget, right?
Yeah. Or you can still, you don't have to necessarily eat out. You can order in. So that way
Mhm.
you don't have to give a tip. Or
Mhm.
sometimes some restaurants like, like small like restaurants, right? For
Mhm.
takeouts. Why are you smiling, pal?
No,
If you
because I
pay
was
cash,
no.
it's 10% off.
The funny part is I was going to bring up something that we do at home, which is, but it's not a
Do it.
sponsor. It's not sponsored, right? But
Do it.
maybe they'll hear it. I'm a fan of Chef's Plate.
Oh, is it
Uh,
good?
Chef's Plate is a subscription. They bring it to your door, and the meals that we have is actually I would compare some of them or most of them to like restaurant quality food. So
How's the pricing?
they bring you all the ingredients. You make it.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy making
Oh,
it because yeah, they give you the whole recipe. They give you all of the right portions of meat, the right portions of vegetables, and then you make it. And we really enjoy it. I've been doing it for
because it watches
at
your
least
diet too.
yeah, because you're in
Yeah.
control, right? You're in control how
Yes.
much
Yeah.
additional salt or powder that you put in, like to make the flavor. And
Wow.
yeah,
Actually, send me the info. I wanted to try it
for
because
sure.
now, because you're super picky, and for you to, and you also watches your diet, right?
Mhm.
So for you to actually suggest that and recommend it is definitely meaning it's a good vibe.
Yeah.
I gotta try.
Well, I think it's a good alternative to going to restaurants just because you're getting I would say good quality of food. You're getting a decent size, and yeah, I enjoy it.
Is it fresh? It's not.
It's fresh.
It's
It's
fresh.
delivered
Okay.
every week.
Okay.
So
And do you think it's cheaper than buying grocery stores and stuff like that?
I think where it works out is because you're not buying unnecessary things. Like let's say if I just need, asparagus, you're going to buy a whole bunch of it instead of, a few, right?
Yeah.
So you're getting when you go to the grocery, you get more, but then like realistically, some
Unnecessary
of them goes
ones.
to waste. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. Yeah.
So
I'm actually curious.
mhm. Yeah, we'll talk about that on the side later.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
But yeah, so
Sounds great.
so
Wow, that's
cut down.
amazing. Those are
Yeah.
great tips.
Yeah. So cut down on discretionary spending, and the other part I was going to mention was I think it's ideal to make a separate budget or separate bank accounts for specific things, because I find that a lot of people between have vacations you use your same bank account on it. Gifts. I think those are things that you should be saving money for, just so that you're able to watch what you're spending in that sense. So yeah, I think having a separate bank account for other items would be ideal, just so you're able to manage your money better. Because a lot of people, what happens is you keep spending money on your credit card, and then suddenly it's like, okay, now I cannot manage it. I have nothing to pay it because my income's not enough. Right. So for those things, I think it's ideal. Have a separate bank account, maybe put aside $200 a month, and then use that money once you've saved up for stuff like vacation, or take out the money for gifting, because that's, variable.
Right, I understand. But sometimes using a credit card is also good if you're trying to build the credit and also gain some points for your vacation, as long as you pay it on time.
Yeah, I agree. But so the way that
you just have to be responsible.
Well, the way I would do that is I would still run it through my credit card and then pay it out from that separate account. Let's say I spend a gift for $100, then I pay that right away. So that's out of my credit card. Because that's
how I would do it.
Yeah. I run everything from my Visa because of points.
Yes, yeah. So, exactly. You don't want to waste that. Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. That's good. So you still have that budget, and that's what you use to pay off the credit card. So you just have to know your budget.
Yeah. So last thing is, this is mostly for homeowners and self-employed. Again, this is on the topic of separate bank account, would be property taxes for homeowners. It's either pay it with your mortgage or pay directly to the city. Because I also see a lot of people, this is from personal experience with clients and stuff, that then suddenly come payment for property taxes, they don't have enough money, or that throws off their whole budget because they never budgeted for it, right?
Yeah.
So it's either do it direct debit or have a separate bank account that your property tax type of account. And and also the other people that I see get affected by this is for self-employed people that don't get deductions from source. That suddenly come tax time, like right now, I bet you there's a lot of self-employed people that have a big tax bill. You make 100,000 and you
Don't
don't
remind me.
you don't save money for that. Suddenly
Yes.
you're owing 30 grand, right, on taxes. So you have to be
Yeah.
prepared for those things.
Yeah. Now, Pao, just a quick question about property taxes. Would it be better for homeowners to add it to their mortgage or just pay it on their own? Is there any benefits to it?
So what I suggest to clients all the time is pay directly to the city. The reason
Why?
being is because when the mortgage company gives you that option and you pay them, it just becomes like a virtual account there.
Oh,
So sometimes they can adjust it, like by the following year they could either adjust it up or down, but it's just
got
money
it.
sitting in that account, right?
True. That makes sense. Yeah.
So if you can just do it directly in pay directly to the city and put it in your bank account where, if you have some type of savings account that's making some interest, then it's better to keep
Yeah.
it there and then pay the tax when it's due. Because it doesn't benefit you in any way that have a few $1,000s in a virtual account with the bank just for property taxes.
Yeah.
Because
That's true.
every city, you just go on, let's say Ajax, you go to their website, go to property taxes, and there's going to be a link there for you to fill up a form that you pay them directly. So that's
Yeah,
what I
I paid.
recommend to client.
Oh, I see. Okay, I pay it through my account, like direct payment, like
Or-
just like where you're paying
Or you can
bills,
do it as a
online
bill payment. Yeah, or you can do
Yeah,
it
yeah,
bill.
yeah. Because it has that roll number, right? So you just have to write that, and it goes there directly.
So that's more manual. I'm talking
Yeah,
about
it's very
those would be automatic payments is what I was talking about setting up, just so that you don't forget. Because a lot of people forget to pay bills. So
No, I know, and this is very important. You don't want to mess around with the government.
Mhm.
Property tax, you gotta pay it on time. Now, do you suggest paying it because you can pay it 4 times, right, quarterly, or you want to pay it one shot?
I would say
Because it makes
monthly.
a
For most
Yeah.
people, I would say monthly. Make it a
Okay.
monthly budget instead of a lump sum because you take a bigger hit. If you're not disciplined enough, you're not going to have that every 3 months or every four
Yeah.
or 6 times a year, right? You're not going to have
Yeah.
that for most people, right? But
Mhm,
if you did
that's
it
right.
monthly and then as income is coming in, so it's not such a big liability. So
Yeah.
I would do it monthly.
That makes sense. Or if you have the funds and you receive the statement, and it's like you're paying 8,000, right, for the whole year, and it's 2,000 quarterly. Just pay it instead of monthly. You can do that too, quarterly, based on the statement, right? So you pay it on time. So only if you have the funds. But like what
Yeah.
Pao was saying, if it's easier probably for everybody to pay it monthly, so that way it's divided.
I think
Through 12 months.
generally it would be better to do it that way. But for some people that can manage and are on top of things, yeah. It's
I pay it lump
basically
sum.
it's basically what
Yeah.
your preference is. The reason
Yeah.
why I think in your situation you pay it lump sum because you're commission
sight.
based and you're
Correct.
commission based, right?
Yes.
So a lot
yeah.
of people most people are salaried,
got
so they know, right? So that's what I was. Because with you see, you have lump sum payments coming in, then why not just pay it
Yeah.
out, right? So
Exactly. And I don't want to miss it. I don't want to miss like, okay, when am I going to get another compensation, right? So might as well just out of sight. Pay it right away and then done. Yeah.
exactly.
You're right. You got it. So it really depends. It's situational. So it depends on your situation. Whether
Why
you're
I say
salaried or
generally
self-
because I don't know the exact stats, but I would assume most people are more
I
salaried than
think-
self-employed. That's why in general, that's why I just tell people.
Yeah.
But yeah, if it's your preference, if you're somebody that pays lump sum, yeah. Like even for myself, like if I have subscriptions that you get a discount for paying lump sum, I pay lump sum.
Same. I do that with my fitness too. At
Yeah.
Good Life. I pay the whole year annually because it's just. Do I get a discount? Yes, I get a discount, like
Yeah,
corporate.
I
but
think
then,
most
and if you
places
pay it
get
annually,
you to pay. Yeah,
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Because it's
And it's out of
significant
sight.
savings. Yeah.
hmm Yeah, I just don't like this company is taking money out of my account monthly. So I'm like, okay, it's paid off for the whole year, done.
Mhm.
I don't want you to take money out of my account. So I guess it depends from It depends on how your situation is with funds, on how you deal with it, on payments and stuff. At the end of the day, just pay on time.
Exactly. Yeah. So overall, those are some of the tips. Just going over it again, or a quick summary: consolidate high interest debts. For homeowners, if your mortgage is renewing, it's ideal to do it at that time. Number two, have a monthly budget, or just kind of be aware of what you're spending and where maybe you can identify. It's like, hey, maybe I'm spending too much here, or I can cut that off. I think that leads to number three: cut down on discretionary spending. Subscriptions, try to get better deals with your phone bill, cable bills. It can be significant. You can, just by reviewing it annually, there's always promotions coming up, right? And even with, there's better plans and everything. So yes, I do it annually. Number four, make separate budgets for certain things, that are, because if you don't have a separate budget, like I was mentioning, let's say in vacations can be like, $5,000, $10,000. Like for a family, sad to think, family of three, family of four, you're looking at your minimum spend on a vacation would be 10 grand.
10, yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, even if it's just 8, you have to make sure you have, you have to allot like some funds for, unforeseen, expenses. There's always.
Well, and I think even with that, I know you're mentioning like, yeah, it's harder to do that. I think it's harder for me and you both because like I don't necessarily have that because I'm like you, I'm commission based, right?
Yeah.
So I put aside money when I get money from like let's say I have a better month, I put that aside, right? But for most people, for most people they see the same things like every month.
Yeah,
so
that's
why I would say put aside money in a bank account for that. So
I totally agree. Yeah. That's a very good tip. Yeah.
Sounds good. Was there anything else you wanted to add before we end today's episode, Tess?
Where do you think the market is heading? See, I'm asking you because I know you're going to ask me. I'm asking you. Well, based on what you're seeing right now, because I know you're super busy in mortgage now.
Well, what I would say is it all depends what happened on March 4th.
Oh,
the tariff noise is going to affect us a lot. So it doesn't even matter it doesn't matter. Like a lot of people make predictions, right? Like these things.
They can always predict. We don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, nobody knows what's going to happen. Like
even Trump doesn't know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
Trump doesn't even know what he's. I don't even want to get into it.
We're not getting into it, Tess.
No politics, no religion. Yeah, so it is what it is.
But in any case, yeah. So in any case, I think in terms of rates, I think variable is going to go down regardless. Fixed is going to go down slightly, but it's going to level off. I don't think we're going to see it go as low as where the variables are going. So for people that are waiting, I would say don't wait for rates for you to decide to buy. It's whenever you're ready is the right time to buy. And I say that because the rates, if it goes down, like keep in mind when rates go down, like let's say the variable rate, the lender or the banks can play around with the discount they give you. So you're not going to get that whole discount, which we already see happening. I think I mentioned that in the last episode with variable rates. So when you're ready, go buy. In terms of we'll have to see where the market goes. I think we had a quick discussion earlier in regards to is it still the right time to buy? I think for people that are renting, whenever you're ready is the right time to buy because the comparison would be you throwing away your money 100% on money on rent. But for investors, especially in Ontario, I'll be honest, I'm not seeing a lot of.
No, it's not very favorable for investors.
It's not favorable for investors. I'm actually looking at other provinces that, I'm trying to run numbers and try to see if it makes more sense there.
And this is one of the reasons why condos are not selling. Because those most investors are buying the condos, right? But now there's so many restrictions.
It was a crazy percentage actually of what the percentage of buyers that were just investors in the condo market was just crazy. I don't know if it was over 50%, to be honest. It was something like that.
It's a lot of money. Like why would you? Like even if, like what's the point of investing, right? You're supposed to make money out of it, but if you're losing a lot of money, why would you invest? So I totally understand. And then
before, because there was the capital appreciation piece. So even for me as an investor before, I didn't care if I was losing $500 a month because I know when I sell that property, it'll be up 50,000, 100,000. You're not seeing the capital appreciation now. So
No,
that's the problem. So you're you're in a cash flow negative position, and then it's either being stagnant or it's going down in value. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and to add to the damage, rental too right now went down the rates,
and the rental.
So I'm seeing a lot of price reductions or rental reductions. Right, it's been in the market for a while. I did that too in one of my rental, because you have to really watch the market. Right, if there's no movement, you just have to move quickly and do something. Rate reduction if you have. Rental reduction if you have to, in order to get it rented. And I had it rented because I changed the price rental. And thank God that my clients understood, because, there's numbers to back it up. And that's all you have to do. You just have to adapt to change.
Exactly.
And same thing, if you were to sell something, you sell your property, you got to price it right. You can't price it too high. When it's not moving in 2 weeks' time, you got to change your price. That's the first thing that... That's a number one culprit, is that it's priced too high. Change the price. Yeah, unless
price it according to today's market, not last year or 2 years before.
COVID time, I don't know. There's still a lot of sellers out there that okay, I'm gonna look so bad now, but a lot of them are delusional. They really think their house is worth this and that, and then they're comparing to the ones that were sold at a high price, and then only to see that they didn't do a lot of upgrades. They're comparing it to the house that were sold at for example, they wanted to sell for 1.8, but theirs is really just worth 1.5 because they didn't do the same upgrades. I don't understand how to explain.
Well, if the other people spend 300,000 on upgrades, that's where the price difference is, right? So if they didn't, so it's simple as that.
But some sellers, they don't understand though. When you sell it, okay, you see the floors are new, yours is carpeted. You can't have the same price. No, but my neighbors just sold it for what? No, but your houses are not the same. It's totally different. Anyways, I guess communication. You just have to communicate. We're almost 1 hour. Ooh.
Yeah. Anyway, Tess. But so can you just remind everyone where they can find us?
You can find us in YouTube channel, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. At Pinoy Homes Canada. And Paolo, he also has a handle that's called Mortgage Wars in Facebook and Instagram. Do you have TikTok?
Yeah.
Mortgage Wars? Yes. And
not as active, but yes, yeah.
Yeah. Sell it with Tess for me in all my social media. So
sounds good,
until
Tess.
Then,
well, yeah. Thanks for your time, Tess, and until next time.
My pleasure. Yes. And if you have any question, please don't hesitate
to reach out. Yeah.
That's right.
To either of us.
And subscribe, write a comment. If you have any question, don't be shy. We don't bite. Until
Sounds
then.
Good. Thanks, Tess. Bye.
Thanks, Pao. Bye.